When I got up north, it got a little calmer. And I want to say, everybody out there, New Yorkers act very, very, we're still acting great down there. People are helping each other out. People are helping up people off the street. I don't know about in the real mess down there, but at least a few blocks north it wasn't too bad. Yeah. So now we're just all walking north to get out.
You can reach out to your family and tell them they're
Oh, yeah. Well, how are you doing, everybody?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. You just made your way up here.
Yeah, I was down, if anybody's looking for me, I'm okay. My family's okay. I was down.
Where are you from?
From New York City.
Your name?
Chris Squazzi.
Okay.
I was down on Wall Street at 845 Wall Street in water when the first plane hit, and everybody was just all bedlam broke out. About 10 minutes later, the second plane hit, and everybody was just evacuated. Then all of a sudden, we hear a loud crash. Then that's when the World Trade Center collapsed.
Right. And where were you at that point?
I was at Water and Wall Street, and at that point, just all hell broke loose. People were running everywhere, scattered everywhere.
What did you see? If you can kind of describe, we saw it on TV. Can you kind of describe it from the ground and watching the building collapse?
It was like there was so much you couldn't see it because it was snowing debris. It was just snowflakes of dust everywhere, and everybody started running towards the water, and people are going to jump into the water because they were so scared.
What is going through your mind right now? If you can kind of make sense of this senseless act. I mean,
I think this is worse than Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, we've been hearing that again and again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Looks like a surgical strike into the South Tower. Against a backdrop of gentle blue skies, a terrorist arrow pierces the heart of a city and a nation. There were several angles to witness the tragedy, one more horrifying than the next. The FBI says this was a United Airlines flight 175 out of Boston, also headed to Los Angeles. At this point, the three major airports in New York City are already shut down.
Because of its support for Israel. They say that the Jews are helping to kill Palestinian people and that the Americans are supporting the Jews in that. From the Palestinian leadership, though, it's very important to point out unequivocal and almost immediate condemnation of the attacks. Yasser Arafat came out very quickly condemning the attacks, offering condolences for the victims. He said that the Palestinian people are completely shocked. Israel's Prime Minister Ariel Sharon is also condemning, of course, the attacks and calling for
of lives, no doubt, lost inside. But to try to give a sense of who was in
corroboration of any sort, but it is known that this group in Kashmir does have some ties to Osama bin Laden. Is that not correct?
That is what Israeli radio is reporting. I can't independently verify that. That is early reports that we're getting. But as I said, I think you have to be very careful in these situations not to put too much credence necessarily in some of these early reports, because some extremist groups, especially the little-known ones, tend to claim responsibility simply to raise their profile. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any more information coming out of Pakistan about this Kashmiri group. Jane, Glenn?
We thank you so much, Donna Friesen in Tel Aviv this morning. It has been a sleepless night for rescue workers, weary from searching for survivors. A valiant effort with so far limited success. They've pulled 2 people from the rubble, Port Authority police officers, and they hope against hope they will find more.
Yeah, right. Walter Perez joins us now. He is right at Ground Zero. Walter, what do you have for us?
Good morning, guys. I'm actually a few blocks north of Ground Zero, and at this point, not a heck of a lot has changed as far as appearances. I mean,
8:45, going south down Manhattan Island looked like a 737 jet. Went straight into the north side of the World Trade Center. Went in, looked like slow motion, and it looked like something out of a movie.
We were watching CNN actually, and they were telling us, you know, that World Trade Center 1 got hit. People were screaming, calm down, nothing is happening here. But at that moment, at exactly that moment, the plane hit us.
Holy shit! When that second plane hit, a huge fireball in the sky, an explosion that kind of knocked you back. Then you look up into the blue sky and you see all this debris coming and flying. Everybody's running like a riot.
Get out! Get out!
The tower collapsed, and it was just a big onrush of ash and smoke and people running.
It could not have been more than about 1,000 feet. They look up casually. The camera catches the plane, and there it goes into Tower Number 1 at the World Trade Center. A stunning development. When we all heard what had happened, everyone assumed, at the beginning at least, I would guess everyone, that it was some kind of a terrible accident. It wasn't until the second plane went into the second tower then that the cold reality that this was a terrorist attack began to dawn on New York City. And it was not too long after that, obviously, that the attack occurred at the Pentagon. There was a report from United Airlines that they had a missing plane. That's the one that went down outside of Philadelphia. This is the scene this morning after those two iconic buildings in Lower Manhattan collapsed within a few hours after having been struck. Their architect and designer said that the structural steel simply melted from the effect of all of that fuel that was burning. I think 170,000 pounds of jet fuel on those airlines. They became a guided missile. Someone, a Defense Department expert, said, we now have to refer to airliners as dual-purpose vehicles. They can be used to transport people, but they can also be used, in effect, as cruise missiles steered into a target with hundreds of innocent civilians behind them. We want to give you a sense of what has happened here in the last 36 hours, and we have asked Dateline's Stone Phillips to give us a summary of all that we have seen and been witness to.
Dawn, Tuesday, the day after the worst day in modern American memory. Americans wake up to a world changed forever, and on the first day of this new and uncertain era, a soldier-turned-statesman talks of a war that must be fought and won.
We're mad. We were assaulted, but our spirit wasn't assaulted, and our fighting spirit was not assaulted, so we want to respond. You don't attack America like this and get away with it.
In the debris field where the iconic Twin Towers once stood, 18 search and rescue teams, hundreds of people, have been working all night long, sometimes digging with their bare hands, hoping to reach survivors. Against all odds, 6 firefighters were freed yesterday from a pocket in the ruins so intact that one of them was said to be surprised the building had collapsed around
Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you, good night, and God bless America.
President George W. Bush, in his second address to the nation, and certainly the most grave speech that he has made